such an asshole.
Hello, children. We have a question about something I actually know something about, unlike all the other. I don't know. If you'd like my opinion. Aaron, I just have a general question for you, not about my life. Do you think the Allies should have invaded the Soviet Union after victory in Europe? I know a lot of leaders like Churchill and MacArthur were intrigued by the idea, given that the Soviet Union was extremely weak. No, they weren't. They were not. What are your thoughts? Seems like we could have avoided the Cold War and saved more innocent lives if we just took them out. No, we would have killed a lot of Soviet soldiers, not to mention British, French, American. Not so, and part of what you're talking about is Operation Unthinkable, and I'm going to read a little bit about it. But Operation Unthinkable, they're like, well, let's go grab a bunch of German, because there's a bunch of German soldiers, and they're very well trained in their veterans, and that was part of it where they'd enlist anywhere from 100 to maybe 200,000 German soldiers, and then they go invade, and if I recall correctly, the non-Soviet allies had something like 15 or 20 divisions of army units, and the Soviets had 56. A lot, because we're in the West, we always see Bastogne, Normandy, blah, blah, blah. But the Russians handled that entire front, and they put, I would say, probably more resources into it if we we're going based on the number of people. I think they suffered the highest number of casualties. The Soviets manhandled the Germans. Right? Germans put up a huge effort too. I mean, it wasn't an easy go. But yeah, the Soviets are the ones that got to Berlin first. The Soviets, they were the half. Let's just say they were half. Then the U.S. was like 40%. Oh, Britain and France. Oh, look at us. So we were outmatched numerically, I would say. Now the other thing though that was about Operation Unthinkable is like, well, the United States was in Japan and they could just flown the long range bombers and nuke different Soviet towns, and that might have worked. That might have worked. Problem is they didn't have any nuclear weapons left after we dropped Fat Man and Little Boy on Japan. And they didn't have anything else in the production. It was almost 2 years before we had another nuclear bomb ready. It's very interesting. And oh gosh, the lack of security protocols. And they just load up the bomb. It's like, well, did you security check these people? We're Americans at that time. You'd have to worry about that. But it wasn't like we had 40 nukes ready to go. And we'll just take out Vladivostok first, and then maybe make our way to whatever the next town is. And and Moscow is all the way over on the other. Although you could have probably sent it in from Britain as well. But yeah, it wasn't like, oh, they were weak and tired. No, they were pissed off, and there was a lot of them, and they outnumbered everyone. But would I have, boy? Because you would have killed a lot of people, and what I would consider innocent people, namely the Soviet soldiers that were on our team, and also it's like, hey, guess what? Stab you in the back. Stab, stab, stab. I mean, like, man, that is a douche move. It's a real douche move. What I probably would have done differently is, if it were up to me, I would have gone in and assassinated Stalin. I would have gone in there and basically taken out the, what are they called, apparatchiks, their ruling class. I would just kill them, taking them all out, send a team in, and then basically said, you guys, but then the Soviets probably would have attacked, but maybe we wait till they got home, put their guns away, and then pew, pew, pew from 1,000 yards. And then, oh my gosh, there's no Stalin. Oh, you guys aren't getting killed by your own leaders no more. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, I would have a hard moral time attacking the country that helped us defeat Nazism. As bad as communism is, and also I have somewhat of a sympathy for soldiers in that they don't want, they're drafted. They don't want to be there. Some of them did, of course, but yeah. Let me go Operation Unthinkable. Operation Unthinkable was the name given to two related possible future war plans by the British Chief of Staffs against the Soviet Union in 1945. Plans were never approved or implemented. The creation of the plans was ordered by British Prime Minister Winston Churchill in May 1945 and developed by the British Armed Forces Joint Planning Staff May 1945 at the end of World War II in Europe. One plan assumed a surprise attack on Soviet forces stationed in Germany. See, that's like dirty. That's dirty. To impose the will of the Western Allies on the Soviets. The will was qualified as a square deal for Poland, which probably meant enforcing the recently signed Yalta Agreement. Planners decided that without massive American help, Britain would probably fail. The assessment signed by the Army Chief of Army Staff on June 9, 1945 concluded it would be beyond our power to win a quick but limited success and be committed to a protracted war against heavy odds. The code name was now reused instead of for a second plan, which was a defensive scenario in which the British were to defend against Soviet drive towards the North Sea and the Atlantic. Oh, okay, so that was just kind of, I guess, the precursor to NATO. Passed on the details at the time. So there you go. Yeah, I wouldn't have done it. All right, in the super chats, what we got here? Boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo. None? All right, we're done. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.